So China is in absolute disaster mode. I'm looking at what's actually going on the ground there, and contrary to what you were told Q1 2023 they had 5% growth. Looking at the real data, looking at real export data, their real import data, and that's comparing them. So like when China says it exports to Vietnam, we look at what Vietnam says it imports from China, and they don't match. So taking all these things into account, Q1 2023, China decreased GDP by 10%. 10%. Shippings are leaving down at least 24% down from 2022, same period. Things are in absolute nightmare mode. There is businesses shutting down all over China. Apple is packing up Foxconn, which is basically they make the Apple phones, right, in China. So Foxconn is shipping all the equipment that they use to make the apples to India. Slowly shipping it all. They've all been put on 4-day weeks. They've put in an extended day's leave. A lot of their factories are closing. Foxconn, in cahoots with Apple, is moving manufacturing out into India, and that's because of US policy, obviously wanting to now bury and destroy China. That is the US policy right now at the moment. They don't want anything to do with China, so the US companies are now moving out everything to either Vietnam or China. Now even South Korea is getting on the bandwagon. So Samsung makes a lot of their products in China, and even about 5-6 years ago, Samsung phones had a good 15% of the Chinese market, and now it's only 1% because South Korea said we don't even want anything to do with China. Even sales of our phones, we don't want anything. We don't want our phones made there. Everyone is abandoning them, and this is at a time when China's whole policy was high debt, high growth. Right? We're just gonna go everything in debt. We're going to build towers, we're going to build roads, we're going to build bridges, we're going to build the infrastructure, we're going to rack it all up on the credit card, and obviously in the end we're going to have the best in class of everything and be the most efficient. That is true. However, now, due to geopolitics rather than economics, people are moving out of those places, and that is causing massive repercussions. The 2021 graduates of Chinese universities, only 23% are actually have a job. Now that is insane. Only 23% from 2 years ago have a job. It's even less for the 2022 graduates, and that is how bad things are being. So 2 years ago, you graduated, only 23% have found a job. So things are a real catastrophe going on. Even people with university degrees trying to be, Uber Eats drivers, or whatever they call them in China, like, these food delivery, on their bicycles. Not enough work even for them. And obviously we all know the property crisis, absolute nightmare, which has a repercussion because the local governments made all their money from property sales, but now there's no property sales. They have no money to pay their employees, so a lot of their employees haven't been paid for 7 months, and so China now is in a state of depression. It's beyond recession, it's depression. Now everyone has to remember in 2008 when the world went into the great recession over there, GFC, Great Financial Crisis. What saved the world was the massive demand from China, because they were building up, building all these roads and building all these things, and so therefore that injected demand into the world economy and saved everyone. Now there is no demand there. There is no demand in America either, right? Because they're also going after pointless, wasteful Green Deal rubbish, just absolute wasteful, throwing money away in the air for no reason. Okay, that is where they're going. So it's not efficient demand. I can also put in money in I don't know, canals. Right now, it's useless. Why would you use a canal when there's much quicker ways? Do you get it? It's just you can also waste money on stupid things. Canals being very environmentally friendly, maybe they'll go down that route. So absolute stupidity what America's doing, and so China's got no demand. That is impacting the rest of the world. We are seeing bond yields rise everywhere. We have to remember, New Zealand is now in a technical recession. EU is in a technical recession. Germany's in a technical recession. The UK, if it wouldn't have imported 2 million people in 2 years, would also be in a huge technical recession because you import lots of people. That fluffs up the numbers. So everyone is in trouble. The US hasn't seen it, although we did have the uptick in unemployment from 3.5% to 3.7%. And I can tell you the commercial real estate sector is absolute nightmare everywhere in the world, everywhere. They cannot get rid of it. Midtown Manhattan, wow, the amount of empty space there. Central London as well. Canary Wharf in deep trouble, Canary Wharf, because the amount of vacancies they're seeing there. Things are really, really, really bad everywhere, fluffed up by fake stock market valuations and fake GDP numbers and very fake CPI numbers. So everything fudge, but in essence, the demand isn't there. The reality is the UK can't hide this one. There has been no real wage growth in the UK for 2 decades. That is the longest period of no increase in wages since the Napoleonic Wars. That is how bad it is in the UK. No wage growth for 2 decades. So it's just atrophying. It's slow. It's no big shock. It's just the slow degeneration of everything. Just like all those great economies like South Africa, Argentina, powerhouses that got slowly destroyed, rotted at the edges. And so things are very, very bad everywhere. We're just not seeing it, but they are there. And China, the worst.